What's up, everybody? My name is Manuela Carrasco, and welcome to a new episode of our podcast, Aforo Máximo Tres Personas. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about different topics and the positive response of the audience. In today's chapter, I have two great guests with me. The first is a great friend of mine and a colleague, Lucas Salgado. Ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, Manu. Thank you for the invitation and for the magnificent presentation.
Thank you for coming. Our next guest is a great woman. She was my classmate at school. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Well, we were classmates. That's why I want us to give a big applause for Valentina Ponce.
Thank you, Manu. Many memories together. I'm very happy today because I love your podcast and it is an honor for me to be here.
Oh, thanks. Okay, before we start, I want to thank our audience for listening to us in these difficult times of the pandemic, where many are alone at home.
Yeah, podcasts are the best company these days. You can listen to a chapter at work, at home, or maybe when you are doing your daily activities.
Yes, we try to do that. And thank you all for your feedback. It always helps us to improve and address different topics later on. And we hope to always be a helpful support in your daily lives.
I am very eager to start today's chapter.
Okay, don't rush me. Today we will talk about a very different and interesting topic for us and for our society, which has different conceptions depending on where it's approached. Our topic for today's chapter is art, and we're going to be discussing if it is a privilege or a necessity.
Let's be honest, the perception of art in its different forms has changed throughout this last year.
Yes, because when we hear the concept of art, we no longer all think of paintings, portraits, Da Vinci's, and Van Goghs, but the concept is much broader and conforms more to personal parameters than to the general conventions of society.
Yes, and today we see many more expressions of art than before, and also more value is placed on. For example, sewing or a person singing in the street.
Currently, because of the pandemic, we cannot go to concerts or the theater, for example. And that has also affected our lives because these were activities that we had considered as regular in our routines.
And that improved our quality of life because they were things that we enjoy doing.
Even considering this, new art expressions have arrived or have become more known with the pandemic. And a clear example of these new forms are podcasts.
And the offer is a lot. There are online concerts, online stand-up comedy shows, online yoga routines, and so on and so forth.
Manu, has art been important for you during the pandemic?
Absolutely. And my position on this topic is that art can portray an important role for those who need to escape for a moment from our current context, me included. When life is too complicated, there's always art surrounding us, waiting to be appreciated. To my way of thinking, art means expression of emotions and also creation of meaning. It is almost like fuel to the soul and has helped us to share emotions and experiences under different contexts, like this one. So as a result, I'll say it has been essential for me to be in contact with art during the last year, even if I can only experience it via online sources.
I am of the opinion that art has sustained my life during the pandemic. And I am not lying or exaggerating with this because we have already been in a pandemic for more than a year and my mind has repeatedly failed me. I deeply believe that without the help of art, I would not have been able to bear confinement without the music that helps me every day to get up, or in the absence of podcasts like this one, that in addition to being a good source of information, are very funny and give me the illusion of belonging to the conversation. So I think it is fair to say that art is a necessity, or at least for me.
In my family, they say that art is overrated and that we can perfectly well live without it. And they say when they see people dancing on TV shows like America's Got Talent, and they criticize saying that this way they won't make a real life and that they should look for a real job.
Oh, that's a very old-fashioned comment.
Mhm.
Yes, and I am very different from them, or at least I think something totally different. Since I was very young, art has helped me to cope with different situations in my life. And I love watching videos of people doing magic tricks in the street. In fact, street art calls my attention a lot.
So you consider that art is a necessity? I mean, based on what you are saying?
Yes, I think it's a necessity, but my opinion is divided on this issue because even though I think it's a necessity, not everyone has the chance of enjoying art or even access to it.
Exactly. And that's an interesting point of discussion because most of the people think that art is available for everyone to the variety of means that can be found on the internet. For example, streaming platforms. But what happens when people do not have to access these means, don't have enough money to pay for these platforms, nor have access to the internet? Face-to-face manifestations of art are on pause, and online ones are keeping afloat the survival of art during the last year.
Well, as I said before, I think art is a necessity, but we must also take into account that it is not accessible to all people. And for the same reason, we make a call to be aware of this point and question our position towards art and the access we have to it.
Yes, it is important to reflect about that. Although I think there must be a lot of free options these days. The problem is that they don't have the necessary diffusion. I have heard of free online concerts and online movie reviews. There is also the option of watching movies or series that are showing on TV or even reading a book.
Now that you mention it, I have participated in many books bartering activities and also book collections for those who do not have one. So in that way, we bring art to everyone.
I can't help thinking that art is much more important for our survival than many people think. And its value, it's underestimated because we are used to just looking at it and not really observing it.
For example, a song or a movie can bring back memories of a person who is no longer with us or of a happy moment in our life. And by listening to the song or watching the movie, we are transported to that moment. And that is also a way to cope with everything that is happening lately.
Yes, my view on this issue is clear, and it's that in our country, now attention is paid to issues related to mental health. Therefore, giving importance to something like art is the least of their problems. That is why it is important that we expose these issues so that others do not believe that it's silly to feel support in different manners of art.
I agree. And to summarize my views on the matter, I would say that although art for me seems a necessity, especially in the last pandemic time, for all the reasons that you, Manu, and I have mentioned, we cannot ignore the fact that many people do not have access even to free activities, and that makes it a privilege because not everyone has access to that. And I think that it's important issue that our society has not taken care of to make people aware of how important it can be to take a moment to see a play, a movie, or read a book. And finally, I would like to call on people to take a moment to take a book and read it because it has helped me a lot to escape sometimes from so much information that we have to deal with today.
I hope our audience can reflect on these topics and make comments with their friends about them. Well, that was today's chapter. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, thanks for the guests for coming. See you soon in another episode of Aforo Máximo 3 Personas.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.